Do you feel comfortable with yourself now? Obviously everyone has insecurities, but have you found a happy medium? Can you explain how you got to this point in your life? I think I hit on this in some of my other answers, but I'll reiterate. I have a ton of insecurities. Have I found a happy medium? Well, let's see. Do I constantly mention my insecurities to other people? Hell no. Do I let them eat me up inside if I'm not careful? Hell yes, obviously. It's natural. I'm human. Everyone has insecurities. No matter how many people tell me I'm great, no matter how successful I am, I'm still going to have this list of things that I don't like about myself, even if I don't come out and say it. It all exists in here. But the trick is to catch yourself when your mind starts to tell you your own bullshit. I'm not funny, I have big teeth, I talk too much, everyone around me is staring at this pimple that I have on my face. It's all bullshit, and it only matters in here, unless you make it matter to other people, or unless you let it matter to other people. Very often our own insecurity about something is actually what makes other people notice it. When you find the strength to release those insecurities, to stop holding on to them quite so tightly, you'll find that you have a hard time even listing them, and that people rarely, if ever, mention them. As to the question of how I got to where I am in my life right now, I worked at it, and I continue to work at it every single day. I don't think I've reached some peak, and I'm okay now. When I first moved to the city, I was pretty freaked out about being on my own, and I was single for the first time. I just sort of didn't know what to do with myself, and I kept having like little breakdowns. I call them breakdowns. They weren't really, I was just crying. Had to make it very dramatic. But I read a lot of self-help books. I read a lot of relationship books, some of them ironically, but they were still kind of funny. But I read a lot, you know? I got some perspective, and I read stuff that I had never heard about before, but it sounded right. And I've sort of internalized it at this point because I've reread the same things over and over. One of the main things I took from some of those books was to not surround yourself with negativity. There are always going to be people in your life that piss you off, and it really just depends how you handle it. This does not mean that you have to have a huge falling out with anyone in your life who's not interested in self-improvement, and you are. But a lot of people have been sort of weeded out of my regular day-to-day existence simply because we don't have the same ideals anymore. So we just don't mesh anymore, and so they've just naturally kind of gone out of my life and new people have come in, and it's sort of the flow of things. The whole point is, this is not an overnight transformation, and you are not alone in it. The more I work on my own issues, the more I realize that I have things to offer other people who are on the same path, and they have stuff to offer me as well. It can be very lonely. It's hard to be the bigger person in a situation when everyone else around you would choose the easier route of not being the bigger person. But the truth is, the more you train yourself to be aware, to be less reactive to people around you, the more it'll rub off on the people around you. Not like that. And that's why I always say, when you focus on the negative that's going on in your life, when you focus on negative things that people have said to you, you're not just letting yourself down, you're letting down everyone around you. And hopefully that will make it a little easier next time that you're dealing with something very negative to rise above it. Just think of it as you're doing this for your friends, you're doing this for your family, you're doing this for anyone you come in contact with, because the more at peace you can be inside yourself, the more it will do this to people around you. And whether or not you realize it, or whether or not you ever get to see the results, you are positively affecting other people by being at peace within yourself. Being at peace with who you are, being at peace with whatever's going on at the moment. So at the end of the day, what you have to ask yourself is, what do I want to put out into the world? Those are all the questions. Thank you, Abby, for asking me to do this interview. Make sure you guys check out Abby's Tumblr. I'll link it below. It's Beauty and Life. As always, feel free to send me any questions that you have that you'd like me to answer in video form, and I will do what I can. Bye, farts!